I was scared the seatbelt would release and we'd fall out. Riders tell of their horror at being stuck 65 feet in the air for half an hour on the new £12 million Alton Towers roller coaster. 28 people left dangling face down in midair after Air Galactica ride stopped. Thrillseekers left hanging 65 feet high in the air for 30 minutes this afternoon. One rider told how he feared his seatbelt would release and he would fall. Another said she knew it would be game over if safety harness gave way. Ride broke down during absolutely torrential rain at the Staffordshire park. Riders were left fearing they may fall out of an Alton Towers roller coaster today after being left hanging 65 feet high in the air for half an hour when it abruptly came to a halt in front of busy bank holiday crowds. A total of 28 people were left hanging face down on the £12 million Air Galactica ride when it ground to a sudden halt in absolutely torrential rain at the top of the first loop of the track at around 2 p.m. One rider told how he feared his seatbelt would release and he would plunge to the ground below as he dangled in midair, while another said it would have been game over if the harness gave way. Others said distressed passengers were screaming and crying during the incident which occurred when the ride broke down after allegedly being besieged by floodwater following heavy downpours. Dramatic pictures show the riders hanging helplessly in midair from the roller coaster carriage as workers at the Staffordshire park rush to their aid to comfort them and calm them down. Other photographs show the queuing area for the ride inundated with inch-deep floodwater. Some visitors suggested the heavy rain may have caused the ride's electrics to trip, stopping it suddenly. After half an hour, workers managed to restart the roller coaster and safely return the riders to the ground. Officials at the park told visitors the ride had been flooded and it was temporarily shut. Thomas Simmons, 20, of Andover, who was riding Air Galactica with girlfriend Rebecca Shepherd when it broke, said he feared they could fall out of the virtual reality ride, which opened in March. He told Mail Online, "I was the first in our row to realize something was wrong, took the VR goggles off and told the others to do the same as they still thought we were moving. They started freaking out, it was freezing and wet up there and I was more scared that the seatbelt would release and we'd fall out as we were suspended horizontally." He added, "It was just a technical fault due to the weather but it left us stranded at the top in the rain for 30 minutes until a technician arrived. It was dealt with by the staff well and they reimbursed our tickets and gave us a couple of fast tracks tickets." His partner, Miss Shepherd, added, "The lift that pulls it up stopped because of the rain. We were there for 30 minutes while people were sorting it out. The weather was terrible but afterwards we got a free drink, free tickets for this year and fast tracks for rides." Alison Swindell, 46, a staff nurse from Newcastle-under-Lyme, was on the front row of the ride with her 11-year-old daughter and her friend. She said they were concerned about their seatbelts holding them in. She told Mail Online, "You think, what if the harness comes away? You knew if it went wrong, that it was game over. I was trying to work out the impact of the drop. It felt at least 100 feet we were at the highest point. There were people screaming. We were right at the top on the front row. You couldn't help but look down, if you tried to look sideways it would hurt your neck." The children were absolutely hysterical. It was absolutely horrendous. Despite the ordeal, M. Swindell said staff were on the scene immediately and were very reassuring. "They came up within a minute and then we realized there was a problem," she said. "They kept saying it won't be long now but that was the worrying thing because not much was happening. We were worried the harness could fail, that was our only fear. But the staff were really good, they kept coming to us and reassuring us that help was on the way. At the end they all came around and took all our details." She added, "I was so shaken up I didn't go on any more rides, I was in shock and I still am hours later. It was just a one-off but I will need time to get over it." Another visitor to the park, who wished to remain anonymous, said the rain was absolutely torrential at the time the ride broke down. He said, "The floodwater quickly dispersed, but the rain was so heavy that the drains were overwhelmed for about 5 minutes. I don't know what caused the ride stoppage, but I wouldn't be surprised if the rain caused a safety trip." The 65 feet high ride was formerly known as Air and has been refurbished for this season. It is a flying virtual reality roller coaster located in the Forbidden Valley area of the amusement park. Guests ride in a prone position lying chest down and are said to experience the feeling of flight by flying close to the ground, under footpaths, and narrowly past trees and rocks. Today's incident comes almost a year after a horrific crash at the same park when 2 carriages on the multi-million-pound Smiler ride collided, seriously injuring 5 people. 2 teenage passengers, Vicky Balch and Leah Washington, underwent leg amputations after their carriage collided with a stationary car during the incident on June 2 last year. 3 other people were seriously injured in the 50 miles per hour crash, which was due to human error. The attraction was closed for 9 months after the horror crash, but it did not stop hundreds of people queuing up to be the first to ride it again once it reopened in March. Merlin Attractions Operations Limited, which owns the park, now faces paying a fine that could stretch into the millions after pleading guilty to a safety breach at North Staffordshire Justice Centre in Newcastle-under-Lyme. The theme park firm also accepted that more could have been done to keep the ride-goers safe ahead of the crash, which was caused by human error when staff manning the ride overrode the controlling computer system's actions to stop the £18 million flagship attraction. Firefighters worked with police and paramedics for more than 4.5 hours to rescue the 16 casualties after the horror smash. The emergency services had to build a scaffold tower after the crash left victims trapped 25 feet off the ground at a 45-degree angle. Park bosses said in a statement that it had sought to learn every possible lesson from last June's crash before deciding to recommence operation of the £18 million ride.